Ja, hello and welcome to another episode of the weekly Spielworxx chat season 2. My name is Uli Blennemann. After some news and some games, I'd like to start a kind of very silly experiment today. So, a kind of Twitch board game jam where I draw some cards and then we'll see what will happening. And I'm I'm excited to see if this indeed will work out or if not. So first some news. The Pax Pamir German edition pre-order ends tomorrow. So if you are interested in this game in the German edition, please hurry. The John Company Kickstarter has started today and it is already funded. So thank you very much. Not thank you very much, but congratulations, of course, to Drew and Cole. So this is wonderfully done. So I'm excited for John Company. And you may know that Spielworxx will do the German edition of the John Company game late this summer. So it will be available for pre-order from my website. Games. So I got this game here, Trick Shot. So, and I also like the box base, which just shows a Zamboni. So interesting. And let me just briefly post the URL. So here it is. So that's a URL of Trickshot. And this is a game, I haven't played it yet, but this is a game that allows you to play single hockey matches on a huge board with player miniatures. And as a hockey fan, of course, I'm very interested in the game. But in my opinion, at least, sports games are very tough to do. I will report back when I had a chance to play Trick Shot here, and maybe actually this should be the cover. So I like it a lot, the box base. As I've already mentioned here a few times, we are playing a campaign game of GMT's Clash of Monarchs with 4, and now we've also started playing a 2-player game of A Pragmatic War by Compass Games. And this is not the 7 Years' War, but the War of the Austrian Succession a couple of years earlier. And the game is a lot less detailed than Clash of Monarchs, but so far it seems to be interesting. And let me just show the URL of that one here as well. And hello Matt, good to see you. And on Saturday, last Saturday, we had our second 6-player game of Westphalia by Hollandspiele. And I mentioned this game here a couple of times ago, and I can only say with more play experience, it gets better and better. And of course, playing with 6 in Germany is only possible with an online implementation. So we played by Vessel with 2 Americans and 4 Germans. And this mechanic that several players, several powers can win, so the victory conditions are not mutually exclusive. This makes for very interesting decisions and thinking. So Westphalia, Hollandspiele, highly recommended if you are 6 players. And we are continuing testing Weimar by Matthias Kramer and making some nice progress. So this is a game, a detailed game on the whole, on the full Weimar Republic. So it starts in late 1918 and ends in early 33. And by the way, if you have experience creating solo bots for complex games, so please get in touch. This would be much appreciated, because so far Weimar is for players only, but we would like to implement solo options in the game. And hello Daniel, guten Tag, yeah, and Ash, good to see you. Wie geht's? Yeah, well, it could be, actually personally I'm feeling fine. everything is okay. Today is a very sunny day, much warmer than to be expected in late March, but the situation, the vaccinations in Germany, this is such a slow progress and such a low process. This is for a lot of people, especially if you're living in the large cities in tiny apartments, this is a really, really tough situation. So it could be definitely better. Personally, I'm fine, and thanks for asking. And Uftada, a very good name. Good evening. Yeah, good evening to you too. But now to my small experiment, and let's see if this will work out. So you may know this book already, Building Blocks of Tabletop Game Design by Jeff Engelstein and Isaac Charleff, who was a guest here a couple of weeks ago in the show. And this is truly an encyclopedia of mechanisms, so a great, great book. But it's a tabletop gaming network conference in late 2019, so just before the BGG convention. The organizers of the Tabletop Network conference handed out a set of cards to all attendees. So I guess Matt has the same has the same cards here. So you see Building Blocks of Tabletop Game Design, and these are not all, so it's really a huge card set. And the front of the cards, and you can probably not see this, they have the symbols and the text from individual chapters and individual sections of the book. So everything in the book is here on cards. And so I want to use these cards for this experiment here. And let's simply take one of these cards, and I'm reading it to you. So this is hidden information, so well. And it says, aspects of the game state are hidden from all but one or a few players. Okay, so this is pretty generic. As I said, everything from the book is included there. Some cards are very specific, the chapter cards are very broad. And there's Chris, good seeing you. Missed the start, but here Westphalia discussions there. Yeah, Westphalia, we played the game on Saturday. It was a great, great experience. If you are 6, because it's a 6-player game only, but wonderful game by Hollandspiele. My only, getting back to Westphalia for a second, my only objection is I think that testing Westphalia was very difficult because you always needed 6. And I think that the victory conditions are not really balanced. But I have to say, with this kind of game, negotiation game, it doesn't matter at all. And really, to play this game 50 times, to balance everything out, this is probably impossible, especially for an outfit like Hollandspiele, who have an output that is, or have that many games published a year. So yeah, but otherwise great experience. And Matt is confirming he has the cards. Not sure where I put them. Yeah, you probably used them for playtesting and wrote on the front some Wombat Rescue expansions on there. So this is what I'm guessing. But back to what I'm trying to do. So first I will mention 3 topics for a game. So first is city planning, so very generic. So I'm interested mainly not in building a city, but how to integrate buildings and blocks in intelligent traffic concepts and more. And second is soccer single match or season management. So really other individual games like trick shot for hockey, or simulating playing a full season. And the third is Origins of World War I. And this was a game by Jim Dunnigan and appeared in Sid Sackson's book A Gamut of Games in 1969. And here is the German edition of this book. So Spiele anders als andere. And by the way, I love the Sid Sackson portrait here, and I'm not sure if you can see this because the sun is shining in. So it's wonderful because this is Sid Saxon and Snappy Dresser, but he is he's telephoning while taking the photo. So I love this. So the game with a couple of descriptions in here, full rules is in this book. And in 1971, Avalon Hill did a full version of Origins of World War One. And in my opinion, the topic, the origins of World War One, this is fascinating. But the game, this pretty old game, is, yeah, it's old and lacking. So these are the three topics. So I will now draw a few cards, and then after each card, I will think about if this could be a useful mechanic or if this could be useful at all for these three topics. And you know that I'm extremely unimaginative, so I need your help if possible. If you have an idea or just a comment, please write it in the chat window. And let me shuffle the cards again. And then we'll start with this silliness. So let me shuffle the other part. Really, these are hundreds of cards. And I'm a terrible shuffler too. So let's see. Taking the top card here. Wow. Once around auction. Yeah, well, we had Isaac here, who is the co-author of this book a couple of weeks ago. Once around auction, the players each have one opportunity to bid, either passing or raising the prior bidder. The order of bids is determined by one of the turn order structures. After the last player has the opportunity to bid, the high bidder wins. You know this from a lot of games. So it's meant, this mechanic, to have auctions in the game that work fast. So nobody is allowed to get back in and out in several rounds. So you either raise a bid or you're out. City planning and auctions. Could be if you want to get something from the city. So if you would want to win something, an appointment here, that you are allowed to plan something. But actually the city wants to spend as less money as possible and not the most money here. Of course this can be done. Soccer. In Germany we have no drafting, or in Europe, so I'm not sure if this is useful, but maybe you have an idea. Clowns? Well, clowns, yeah. Maybe. And Origins of World War One. Auction, yes, this could work in a way. If you think of it as political or diplomatic influence on certain topics, and this is a conference table, and the high bidder bidding, so bidding of course is not money but influence, can carry a topic. So maybe for this it could work out. Steve, hello Steve, is saying buy plots of lands to build one. Yeah, maybe this is the one, so that it's but maybe then I'm not sure if the high bidder should be in there. So maybe a Dutch auction, so that it goes down, and then the city says, well, now you're allowed to take it. So, but I'm not really convinced that this is helpful. So let me grab another card. Oh, wow. Stat check. There is a target number required to succeed at some test. A random number is generated by card draw, die roll, etc., which is compared to the target. If it meets or exceeds the target, the action succeeds. You know this from some games, of course. And let me think here. Do you have an idea on this? Yeah, this could be useful for all three. So as Steve is saying, if you buy something or if you want to be in there, you need to qualify for something. But this also would mean that maybe the players, the city planners, you could individualize them so that you have specific ratings in some categories, and this would be your target number. And you need to match this number. Could be also working in a soccer game, of course, because if it's an individual soccer match, the players definitely need some stats for dribbling, for passing, for headers, for the goalkeeper needs this. And especially in this, I think this could be really useful, that you have to roll this. Let's say you are making a pass over 50 meters. Then, of course, this is difficult if you're running at full speed, and to reach your other player, your team member, then you need to pass this test. Could be much more useful than the earlier cards. So let's see. Uftata, depends. City planning. There are streets giving some more cash than others. Parkstraße. So you could get a benefit of it. Right, absolutely. Absolutely. So this is, of course, I guess a remark for the one around auction. So you're making an auction, or a high number or whatever is needed to develop the truly the areas that could make you more money than others. Interesting. Fool's God, hi all, are you brainstorming? Yeah, hello, well, it's storming. I'm not sure if a lot else is going on in my brain right now, but at least this is a kind of a experiment, and I'm seeing if these cards are useful to work on three different topics. Matt is saying the stat check could be votes needed to pass a resolution on the city council. Very good. Yes, perhaps for rezoning. Oh, Uli and English for rezoning. Yes, this is nice. Yeah, I think the stat check is actually useful for all three games. Also for Origins of World War One may seem strange. What is a stat check? But you just what it means is you need to get to a target number. You need to match a target number, and so this could be again diplomatic influence in an area, let's say in the Balkans, and maybe the Russian Empire and the Habsburg Empire, so Austria-Hungary, and of course also the Ottoman Empire. They have it a little bit easier to match this number because it's in their sphere of influence. So especially Russia and Austria. Turkey, a little bit more difficult, but other powers have a much higher number to match. Interesting. Yeah, and Daniel is confirming this. That's really good, Matt. Yes. Daniel, yeah, no, I don't. These were three different topics. But it's an interesting idea. So let's keep this for the fourth one. So matching city planning, a single soccer match or a soccer season, and the origins of World War One. So you may know. I think that was in 69 or 70, but maybe somebody can check this right now. There was a soccer war. So is it Honduras versus El Salvador? So there was a brief war because of some soccer disputes. So it happened. And you know, apart from you Americans, almost everybody is, for them, soccer is a thing close and dear to their hearts. Matt, you have to plan the city during a war and hold a soccer game to resolve the war. Yeah, actually it would have been much better if you use a soccer game for resolving a war. But may I again show you this cover? I think hockey is better to resolve the war. The rules are a little bit better for this. Daniel, a single soccer match between city planners as World War I broke out. No. Third card. This is from a different chapter. It's income. Players gain resources at defined times. Yeah, of course. This is a very generic card, and I guess soccer management needs money because you want to build up your club. City planning probably needs some money. Well, doesn't need to. If you just draw tiles to plan your city intelligently, then it doesn't need to have a currency. And World War I income could be again diplomatic power or whatever. So income doesn't, of course, need to have money. So let me draw 2 cards or more. Chaining. Places. So chaining. No, pieces. Pieces are stationary, but are built out in chains. Pieces are stationary, but are built out in chains. Again, you see how unimaginative I am. So when I'm thinking about the origins of World War I, I'm thinking about diplomatic power. And this, of course, could be chains of diplomatic power. So first you have some influence, let's say, as the Austrian-Hungarian player in the embassy of Serbia, then you move into Bulgaria, then to Romania. So you need to go in chains and can put down your marker, but I'm not sure if this is really realistic and not a good way to do this. For city planning, of course, this could be a lot more interesting. I think if you are strong in one quarter of the city or in one area, this may help you in other areas to build from there and to grow from there, maybe. A long telegraph line, Fool's Guard is saying, could be something like this also. And Matt is saying, chaining the city planning would enlarge an existing zone. Yes, this could be useful, but I'm not really sure about chaining. Maybe, or it could be. So what I'm interested in city planning is how to get intelligent traffic in the city of the future. And I'm not saying remove all cars with gas engines and replace them one-to-one with electric vehicles. This is already much better, but it doesn't really solve our problems. You have the same number of cars there. But what I'm thinking about is to have self-driven, is this a word in Germany? Self-driven. So cars, buses that move by themselves in regular intervals through the cities. So, and you can simply hop in and hop out of them. So that's what I'm thinking. And maybe for this, chaining could be useful, so that you need to connect these cities and need to connect the blocks of a city to this intelligent traffic. Maybe. So let me see. Yeah, Steve, any utility could be used. Chris, hockey players are stationary. You have to flick the puck to bounce off their sticks. The poor play leads to World War II breakout, and it was all the Iserlohn Roosters' fault. No, we had some strange comments. This was the most stupid one. So let me just show it for you again, because you missed the start. You see, no, let me just do it in this way here. Chris, this is just for you. Iserlohn Roosters supporters with a mask. So no jokes about the Roosters. So Pan 1976, hallo zusammen. Yeah, hello, good to see you. Yes, self-driving cars, not self-driven, self-driving cars. Thank you. There's Pete. Good to see you. Matt, intelligent traffic planning is really a race to create general AI so it can solve the problem. Yes, and I think this is that's why I'm interested in this topic. We all have played a lot of city building games, and some are great, some are mediocre, some are really bad, and so there are so many different approaches to this genre, and I simply and of course all these video games, and I don't want to do too many or play too many of these, but intelligent city planning, in my opinion, is city of the future, and green buildings, so that it doesn't get that warm or too warm in summer, and how to use energy. I think this is a fascinating topic and really a great one. So Daniel is saying, is an intelligent traffic a co-worley game? Yes, I think so. Probably if you ask Cole and if he had interest in this, his mind is always somewhere I mean this in a really great way, then he could probably design such a game. But let me grab another card here, and then we'll see if we can make some progress. Alternate removal. The player with fewer units removes one. Then players alternate removing units until reaching a set number. One player is out of the units or some other stopping mechanisms. And of course we know this all from Civilization, so the Avalon Hill Civilization or Advanced Civilization. So I'm having 5 units in an area, and somebody else has 6 units, and then we are removing units till the area limit. Let's say this area has a limit of 4 is reached. It could mean that units that from several powers are coexisting, could mean that one are immediately removed. And myself, Spielworxx, we used this in Colonialism, this mechanism, so by Scott Labrand. So he used this mechanism to remove influence in areas as well. But soccer, oh well, what you're doing actually is reducing influence. And if you're using this in a very abstract way, of course it can be used for almost anything. It could be used for, again, for removing influence, diplomatic influence, or real power influence in an area in an Origins of World War I game. It could be reducing influence by bidding for a city lot for something. It could be meant for if you have a soccer management game that you're losing and you want to get a player, and that there is a competitor that you are missing this bit. But I'm not sure if this is, if I would do such a game, that I would use alternate removal in these games. It doesn't seem to be too useful to me. So let's see. I will think about these actually and get back to you in 2 weeks. But I would really love to see something, maybe in writing, could be a few lines, could be detailed, and it could be that you completely disregard these cards because I'm not really thinking they are too useful. But or maybe you are saying, well, maybe this and this mechanic could be used in such a game. So either soccer, individual single match game, and by the way, for Europe, for soccer fans, this is the holy grail of tabletop gaming, because in my opinion there is not a truly great single match soccer game. Or maybe in a soccer management game, city planning, as I outlined before, not necessarily city building, but city planning, and city building is integrated, and Origins of World War I, which you can look up. Where did I put the book? It is over here, so right in front of me. So, a gamut of games. Spiele anders als andere. And the game is available at BGG. because Avalon Hill published it later, 2 years later in 71. And maybe if you have an idea, drop me a mail at uli@spielworxx.de, that is uli@spielworxx.de. But if you have some other comments, or if you have if you would like to see a topic discussed here, please drop me a mail and I'll see that I can integrate this in a future episode. But next week we are having a guest. It is Harold Buchanan, and we will talk about the important Zenobia Award in gaming, because he's one of the organizers of this fantastic award. So let me just see some comments here. Mo, good to see you, Mo. Greetings to Texas. But before I get to you, Fool's Guard is asking, where are the cards from? This is Building Blocks of Tabletop Game Design. So, and this is the book, Building Blocks of Game Design, by the fantastic Jeff Engelstein and Isaac Shalev. And for the Tabletop Network Conference attendees in late 2019, they handed out a set of cards. So this is a massive number of cards. So basically for all chapters and for all sections of the book. And in my opinion, of course, as we just saw, you cannot really design a game from drawing some cards. But in my opinion, what is important is that these cards make you immediately thinking. They are nothing more, but also nothing less. And so I think they are excellent. So I really love them. But getting back to Mo here. So use pressure in a soccer as area control. Yes, that is a good way, because especially in modern soccer you have so much pressure, and this is the most important. Use alternate removal in order to make goals. Yeah, but then my Schalke team, they would never score a goal. And what to remove, because we already started 0. Yeah, but it's a good idea. Oh, just want to make a quick announcement. BGG only has 3 copies left of the cost. Yeah, and this, of course, is an important announcement. Here in Germany, in Europe, I think nowhere here, 0 copies of the cost. So if you want to get a copy of this fantastic game by Mo and design team, please hurry to the BGG store. These are fantastic news, and I think well-deserved, Mo. So, and again, thank you for this great game. Yes, the cards were not generally made available, and I doubt that they will ever be, because printing them is quite difficult and the target audience is small, so I doubt that they are available. But you can, of course, get in touch with Isaac or Jeff and ask them. If there is demand, they will do this, and I really like them. But yeah, thank you for your time. Next week we will have a wonderful guest. Maybe I'm getting something from you for this gaming jam topic. I'd really love to hear back from you. And till next week, definitely bleibt gesund and Black Lives Matter. Thank you very much. Bye bye.